So you're looking for a football game to get on your Steam Deck, but you really don't want to play Madden.
Damn.
Well, I got you covered. In today's video, I'm going to show you two football games you can play instead of Madden, and I'll give you some pros and cons for each game so you can make an informed decision on which game to get. Let's get into it. So the first game I'm going to talk about is a game called Sunday Rivals. Sunday Rivals is an arcade-style football game. So a few things to note about this game. This game has full customization. You can go in, you could literally recreate the entire roster in the game, change everybody's team. You can make it where you can recreate the NFL in this game. It's full customization. You could change, I think they let you change the stadiums all the way down to what the turf looks like and stuff like that. So it's pretty, it's got a pretty decent customization in the game. It's got dynamic weather. The weather system's pretty cool. Like, I've seen like I think they got like light rain, heavy rain, light snow, heavy snow, stuff like that. And I think there's like kind of like a dynamic time of day. Like I think like the time of day changes in certain scenarios where if like you start a game like the afternoon and it'll start getting darker and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. So next up, let's talk about the Headhunter mode in Sunday Rivals. So the Headhunter mode is kind of like a fantasy style tournament mode, I guess you can call it. You're gonna have 4 rounds, single elimination, and everything that you do in the games is gonna tally up a score. So let's say you throw for a certain amount of passing yards, you throw interception, you throw touchdowns, you know, tackles, sacks, all that type of stuff. It's gonna have a different scoring amount for each, you know, thing that you do. And then at the end of every game, you get they add up your score. Scoring is also based on like how difficult you make the game, like what the difficulty level and what type of team you pick. So if you pick a lower skilled team, your multiplier is gonna be higher, and if you pick a higher level team, your multiplier is going to be lower. The game's going to run you about $20 on Steam, and I think I bought it on sale for $17.99, so $18 when it went on sale one time. And surprisingly, this game only takes up 430 megabytes, so it's not going to take up any type of space on your Steam Deck. So that's something to note as well. Me personally, I think the game is fun. If you're like in the arcade style football games, you don't really need it to be realistic. And if you're okay with it not having a franchise mode, this might be the game for you. Alright, next up, let's talk about Legend Bowl. So Legend Bowl is more of a simulation style football game. You know, don't let the looks fool you. If you look at the description, it says a simulation / arcade style football game, but you can make the argument that it's more of a simulation style football game than Madden, and that's just being real. But this game has some pretty deep customization. Like, I mean, you could same thing like you can do in Sunday Rivals. You could literally go in and recreate the entire roster, you know, create different teams, you know, stadiums and stuff like that. I know there's like a NFL mod for the game. I don't seen that online before. You know, this game actually has referees on the field, unlike Madden, which has had referees in a few years. It's got, how many game modes does this game have? It has exhibition, franchise, it's got a tournament mode, it's got a training camp mode, which kind of like teaches you the game. You know, this also has a dynamic weather system as well. You actually can see the coin toss in this. You know, it's a pretty good football game, you know. Now, let me tell you this isn't, now it says arcade / you know, simulation, but this game has a bit of a learning curve, and I recommend if you like decide you want to check this game out, I would go back and like I would make sure you do the tutorial first. because the passing is it's not just like the way it is in Sunday Rivals or in like PC version of Madden. You're not just pressing a button and just throwing the ball. No, there's a little meter that shows up, and based on like how much you fill the meter, or if you overfill the meter, it can determine how accurate your pass is. So if you overfill it, it'll make the pass inaccurate, and you might end up throwing it into the ground or overthrowing it or something. So you got to keep that in mind. That's also going to be based on what level you play the game at. And the AI in this game is pretty good. It's no slouch. Trust me, I've played at the lower levels and I play at the harder levels, and the CPU is pretty tough in this game. So a couple of other things to note about Legend Bowl is this game is not actually supported on the Steam Deck. If you look at it, it's going to say unsupported. And I played it for like 6-7 hours, I think, and I've only encountered one issue, and that's when I tried to do a franchise mode. And when I started the franchise mode, they wanted me to type in the name of my coach. Well, for whatever reason, it wouldn't let me do that. So I couldn't type in my coach's name. So I had to just use like a made up name that the game already had for my coach. I couldn't use a name I wanted to. So that's one thing to note. Other than that, like, the game runs just fine. Like, I haven't had any other issues. I couldn't notice any other problems where the game wouldn't run or anything, or none of the game modes I wasn't able to access any of the game modes. So keep that in mind. So this game is going to run you about $25. It's going to be a little bit more expensive than Sunday Rivals, but if you can catch it on sale, I definitely think it's worth picking up, especially if you're more into a simulation style, not arcade style like Sunday Rivals. Another thing to note is the game only takes up a gig. It's not that big of a file either, which is kind of funny because it takes up more space than Sunday Rivals does. So let's say these two games didn't convince you to pick either one of them up, and you still like, I still think I want to try Madden. It's more of a realistic looking football game. It's not pixel art. It's not, the polygon style football game is like Sunday Rivals is. Let's say you could not convince with either one of these other games, you want to go with Madden. Well, let me say you a few things about Madden. Madden is this year's Madden on PC, which once again is going to be the last gen version of Madden. It's not going to have none of the new features like field sense and the new hit everything mechanics or the 360 cuts, all those little buzzwords that they threw out this year. You're not going to see any of that. So really the only thing new about this version of Madden on PC is just they added the same franchise features from that the current gen version has. Other than that, the player movement, the player models, and all those new features, all those little buzzwords that they throw out every year, none of that stuff is going to be in the PC version, so keep that in mind. I will say this, it's kind of cool playing, a Madden game, portably. EA doesn't want to put Madden on the Switch, so we haven't been able to experience that, but playing it on my Steam Deck it's a cool experience. But you also got to think, is the game fun? It's okay. It's if I had my choice, if I was like somebody who was choosing between the three games, my recommendation was get Legend Bowl. It's like a perfect combination of arcade. It's a little arcadey, like just a tiny bit, but it's more of a simulation. It's like the franchise mode, not as deep as Madden's, but it's still pretty deep, or deep enough where you can have an enjoyable experience. But Madden, it's Madden. You're gonna play it probably for 30 minutes, but like, yeah, this is the same old. There's nothing new here, really. But a few things to know about Madden on PC is typical $60. It's gonna take up about 40 gigs of space on your Steam Deck. it does have more stuff for you to do. Like the yard is still in the game. Like you have to go searching for it. If you're in the Ultimate Team, which I feel like the mode that's totally ruined Madden. One of the reasons why Madden is in the state it's in is because they focus so much on Ultimate Team, because that's where they get all their money from. But there's Ultimate Team still. If you're into that, you still got the yard, Superstar KO. All those modes are still in the game. They haven't done anything with any of those modes, but there's a lot to do in the game. So I guess if you want to add that as a pro for the game, that's a pro, but also it can be a con if you really think about it. But that's really it for Madden. That's really all I can tell you about Madden if you decide to go that route. So that's gonna be it for me today. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.